And joining us right now is the host of Facing South Florida, Jim DeFede. And Jim, before we begin, Senator Marco Rubio has finally weighed in on the battle to fill the seat. He's saying, quote, in 2016, President Obama exercised his constitutional duty and nominated Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court, and the Senate exercised its constitutional obligation and decided not to consent. Now, President Trump should exercise his duty to name a nominee, and the Senate should once again exercise its constitutional obligation and decide whether or not to consent to his choice. I will review the record of President Trump's nominee, and I will provide my consent if I find they are qualified and will respect the law as written. He doesn't mention there that Mitch McConnell didn't even give Merrick Garland a hearing or a meeting in 2016. Jim, your reaction to what Marco Rubio is saying?
You know, he's revising history a little bit. In my conversations with him over the years, he sort of made a distinction between the fact that Barack Obama was in the final year of a 8-year term, so he was a lame duck president, and that's the reason that he didn't believe that Merrick Garland deserved a hearing. Look, I'm no longer amazed by the ability of politicians to rationalize the decisions they think is in their best political interest. This is no surprise that Marco Rubio will support the president and push ahead on this issue.
All right, Jim, a Hialeah native is on President Trump's short list, Judge Barbara Lagoa. What can you tell us about her?
So, you know, as you were just discussing with Paula Reed, a very impressive individual. As you mentioned, grew up in Hialeah, went to Pace High School, was an undergraduate at FIU, majored in English, went to Columbia Law School, where she graduated with honors. What's really remarkable is her trajectory in the recent years. Now, in 2000, she was part of the pro bono team that represented Elian Gonzalez and the family to try to keep the young boy here in the United States. In 2006, she was appointed by Jeb Bush to the 3rd District Court of Appeals, a state a judge position. But then think about where she's gone since then. In January of 2009, or 2019, I apologize. In 2019, in January, Ron DeSantis appointed her to the state Supreme Court. She became the first Latina, the first Cuban-American woman to sit on the state Supreme Court. Less than a year later, December 2019, Donald Trump moved her into the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, a federal judgeship. And now, less than a year after that, she's in line to potentially be the next nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court. As Paula Reed was saying, the fact that she doesn't have a wide, extensive, litany of opinions that she's written helps in some ways. The downside of her experience is that she hasn't really been through the vetting process in a serious way. The main candidate who everyone sort of thinks is going to be nominated, the Barrett, is somebody who has already been on that short list for a long time. They think they know her pretty well. They anticipate that she excites the Christian conservative base that they're looking for, the Catholic base that they're looking for in states like Pennsylvania and throughout the Midwest. So Barbara Lagoa works good politically here in Florida, and she could be named, but I'm not betting on her just yet.
Well, Jim, you're saying we don't know much about Barbara Lagoa, but do we know anything about her judicial philosophy, for example, on issues like abortion?
So, as a state Supreme Court judge, and as a District Court of Appeals judge here in Florida, not a lot of abortion cases, not a lot of reproductive rights cases come through the state court system because it is pretty much settled law, plus the Florida Constitution embeds that as well. So we haven't seen a lot there. We know that when she was appointed by Donald Trump for confirmation to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, that she did fill out a questionnaire saying that she accepted that Roe versus Wade was settled law and she would not seek to overturn it as an appeals court judge. Now, that's a whole different game when you end up on the U.S. Supreme Court. But that isn't the only case that's potentially troublesome for Democrats. There's also the Affordable Care Act. I think that this Supreme Court nomination is going to crystallize around one of the most fundamental issues that Democrats have working in their favor, which is health care. You have a situation now where it is almost guaranteed that the Affordable Care Act will be struck down if Donald Trump's nominee moves forward. Now, if that's the case, Republicans and the White House have put out no plan for a substitute. So that means pre-existing conditions goes away. All those benefits that you like as part of Obamacare go away. And Dade County, #1 county in the country for signups to Obamacare.
And Jim, if Barbara Lagoa is in fact chosen, what sort of impact do you think it could have on voters here in this key swing state of Florida?
You know, it's interesting. I've read some analysis that suggests that this is a way for Donald Trump to lock in Florida. I'm a little skeptical of that. I think that if Donald Trump needs to appoint Barbara Lagoa in order to secure Hialeah Cuban Americans to support for him, he's in a lot bigger trouble in Florida. It would help him with Hispanics overall, and that's a key constituency that he's been trying to appeal to. I think that a lot of this is theater. I think a lot of this is just sort of wanting these conversations to take place. And it would not surprise me, by the way, if when Donald Trump is supposed to be in Florida and specifically Miami on Friday, if you don't see a meeting between him and Barbara Lagoa before he makes a final announcement on who he's going to pick for the Supreme Court on Saturday.
We will be watching. Jim DeFede, thank you very much for joining us.